Hey Zaza! I'm good, how are you? I'm just writing down some stuff in my gratitude journal. You got the notification, that's good. I'm glad. How are you doing? Hey Sultan, welcome everyone to the live. My day was good, thank you. How was yours? I'm writing down some affirmations. I'm writing down, may I be reminded that my energy and presence is my contribution. Don't need to force anything. The blinds can be... Sultan, I saw that. But I'm going to shut them. Boring holiday. Spent the whole in my home. I'm from England. Where are you guys from? Let me know. I need not force or over exert. I need not force or over exert to receive love. To receive love. I need not force or overexert to receive love. It's an affirmation, guys. Hang on, let me read some of these comments. I'm from England. Where's everyone else from? Let me know. Do you want to hear some more of my affirmations that we have in this book? Okay, so there's this guy called Neville Goddard, and he has these, well, there's people that make all these videos of Neville Goddard on YouTube. Does anyone know who Neville Goddard is? And I made these. Hey Alex, welcome. I made these affirmations based off of the Neville Goddard videos, and they're so good. So I'll read them to you whilst I write them down. And if you want, you can join me, because it makes me feel so good when I repeat these affirmations. So, love is infinite and I am its channel. Love is infinite and I am its channel. And, wait. Okay, love is infinite and I am its channel, and I accept nothing that contradicts that truth. Yes. Love is infinite. I am its channel. And I accept nothing that contradicts that truth. Say hi, guys, if you're here, and tell me where you're from. Do you listen to BTS? No. Love is infinite and I am its channel. Yes! I love that you wrote the affirmation down. Thank you. We should all say it. Love is infinite and I am its channel. If you agree with this, if this affirmation makes you feel good, please write it in the chat. Hi Tim, welcome. Is the bad comments triggering me? Why do you want to mod? Have I got some mods here today? Zaza, are you modding for me? And Tim, are you modding? Affirmations are basically, it's words that you affirm to yourself, that you say to yourself, or that you say out loud, or you can write them down. And it's just a way of redirecting your thought into more positive thinking. I'm not reading, I'm writing in my gratitude / affirmation journal, and I was reading out some of the stuff that I write, and that was one of my favorite ones, which was love is infinite and I am its channel, and I accept nothing that contradicts that truth. Vardhan, I want to know something. Would you like to answer? Yes, go for it, please. This stream is about, it's a spiritual Q&A, so you can ask me anything to do with relationships, purpose, manifestation, all that stuff, anything to do with spirituality, and we can chat about it. We can go in deep. I'm good, Tim. How are you doing, hun? My stillness and love ripples out into the collective. This is something that I really do believe, is that when we are present and when we operate from a loving place, that ripples out. And we may not see it right now, but it really, really does, guys. Into the... I'm British, yeah. When we say karma, I see bad people still living a good life. How does God judge them? See, I think karma is actually our conditioning and our patterns. So we can actually rise above our karma. We can become more conscious of our patterns. When we're unconscious, we are just playing out karma. When we're conscious, we are able to be more selective and choose to not play out karma or karmic relationships. Hang on, I need to sort this light out. So I was doing this meditation today. Oh, sorry guys, shaky screen. And it was really interesting because she was talking about how this was like a Till Swan meditation, right? And she was talking about how there's two types of relationships. There's relationships that on one hand are loving, positive, they're fun, they're joyous, they feel like love. And then you have other relationships that are the other type of relationship, which is a relationship that is painful and it feels like desperate and like need and I think of those relationships as our karmic relationships, because we get into them in order to become aware of our karma, of our conditions and our patterns. And then through that, when we can become aware of these painful relationships and why we're attached to them, then we get to release the patterns and conditioning that are keeping us stuck in them. But hey everyone, welcome to the chat. Say hey if you're here and let us know where you're coming from. But also you can have a relationship that is like painful, but it can turn into a positive relationship once you have released attachment to the patterns that were causing it to be painful. Or you can let go of the relationship as a whole, but interesting. Ah, well, congratulations to you and your wife, Mark. Okay, here is my question. What are the ways to save marriages? Well, I've never been married, but if we were going to look at it from a perspective of how to have healthy relationships, then I would say that it's all about taking the other person as part of yourself. I learned this from Till Swan. I really like to learn from Till Swan about relationships because I think she has some really good insights. And she talks about how when we're in a relationship with someone, or we're in a loving relationship with someone, it means that we take them to be part of ourselves. So their needs become just as important to us as our own needs, and making sure that the other person is getting what they need and not trying to get what we want by overriding their needs, or vice versa, self-sacrificing. Why do people fall into negative relationships? Is it a punishment from the universe, God, or divine, or is it just what exactly? Okay. I don't believe that it is punishment. I believe that and this is from my own research of different spiritual traditions, watching near-death experience videos, also watching and reading about past life regressions, OBEs, all of that stuff, and just spiritual teachers in general. And so what I have learned is that before we come into this planet, right, before we come into our incarnation, we have things that we want to learn. And so when we have relationships that are challenging, the more negative relationships, the ones that are more painful, they are here to teach us something. So the quicker you can understand that a relationship, a painful relationship is trying to show you something in terms of what your self-concept is, what your thoughts are, your internal dialogue. Our relationships are mirroring back to us our internal state and our self-concept all the time. And those negative relationships, or those negative relationships, the relationships that are more painful and or karmic relationships, are helping us to become more empowered, to realize what we will and won't tolerate in relationships or friendships, making us understand how we're speaking to ourselves. Like, if someone's treating you badly, how is your inner dialogue reacting to that? Because a lot of the time when someone's treating us badly, we can tend to blame ourselves or think that there's something wrong with us because that person is doing that. When actually it has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with that person's state of consciousness. How someone treats you is a mirror for your state of consciousness, but it doesn't, in terms of what the thoughts you are, the thoughts that you are thinking, your self-concept. What are you allowing? What thoughts are you allowing? This is how the relationships mirror our internal world. But how someone treats you has nothing to do with you. It has to do with their own internal landscape, their own state of consciousness. Hey Pete, welcome back. Thank you. Respect the other one's autonomy. Respect the other one's autonomy mutually. Is that important? I would say so. Yeah. Humble Bee, thank you. I'm glad. Do you have any more questions? Any questions that arise from anything that I said? Autonomy. I guess it's like, autonomy is all to do with your own decision making, your self-direction. And so, I guess when it comes to being in a relationship, we have to take into account what other people want and need when we're making decisions. Okay, I'm gonna read some more of the affirmations that I have, guys, because I just really feel like it right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is a good one. The divine never explains its worth to anyone. What I have written down is actually the divine feminine does not explain her worth to anyone, but of course you can switch that to divine masculine. The divine masculine does not explain his worth to anyone. I love this because like sometimes we get into relationships and if someone's not treating you as how you want to be treated, it's like you can remind yourself, I don't need to explain to someone, you know, my worth. If they don't see it, then that is not something that I need to try to convince them to see. The people that are meant for me will be the ones that already see and already treat me as such. Is marriage still overrated? I mean, I guess it depends on who you're asking, but I think marriage is just very different to how it used to be, and the whole way that marriage came about in the first place is different to how it is now. I don't think it's overrated if the intentions are pure. Thank you, Pete, for your kind words. Are you an artist? I am actually. I'd identify as an artist. I create a lot of things. I'm 5'10". You can see Betty, but not now because she's sleeping. So I'll show you her later. Okay, I'm going to read another one. I am not afraid of letting go, for I know I can never lose what is truly mine. Oh, I love that one. I say this to myself every day. I'm not afraid of letting go, for I know that I can never lose what is truly mine. I know that I can never lose what was truly mine. Beautiful. The question, life is not worth living. Sometimes just considering the opposite position can be helpful. I actually think about death every day. I remind myself every day that I'm going to die. And that really does shift me into, okay, so what do I want to do then? And then I get like more inspiration of things that I want to get done. And then I have more confidence to just like do the things that maybe I'm a little bit scared to do. It's like, I'm going to die one day. We're not going to be on this earth forever, guys. Maybe we'll come back. Like, I do believe we'll come back. But in this body, this exact moment that we're living in is never going to be the same. We're going to all have to leave. Every single human that has ever been on this earth has died. So, what the fuck are we doing, you know? Like, what do you feel inspired to do when you think about how you're going to die one day and it's going to be like, you know, in the amount of time that there's been in the universe compared to our life, which is so small, does thinking about death inspire you guys to do anything? Like, what comes to your mind when you think about this? Is there things that you guys want to do? Can you put it in the chat? Because I'm interested to see what everyone's different goals or dreams? If death didn't exist, love and value would be dead in this world, and who wants to live in that experience? Death is part of nature. We have a very weird relationship with death, seeing as it happens to everyone and, like, you know, everything. It's weird that we're so scared of it because it's actually one of the most natural things. My lifetime questions will be answered. What do you mean? Mr. Haroon, hello. Death is scary. Why are you scared of death? I mean, I get it because it's normal, because I was so scared of death up until when I only realized that I was going to die when I was like 23 or something. And I remember actually deeping it and being like, oh my God, I'm actually going to die. And I was like, started to get scared about it. And then I realized, and then I started watching, I mean, I did some magic mushrooms, that helped. And then also watching near-death experience videos is really good, guys, for getting over the fear of death. Or just learning about near-death experiences in general. So interesting, because there are so many people that have, and no, Snoop Parrot, I have never faced a near-death experience, but I'm fascinated with the reports of other people's near-death experiences, because there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of them. And they have so many similarities. Like, they're very linked. The stories are very much like, there's a lot of themes that are found when you start looking into near-death experiences. Like, for example, people having the experience of just popping out of their body and then seeing their body from their soul's perspective. And a lot of people just don't even identify with their body. They're like, who is that? And then they're like, oh, that was the body I was just in. And they don't see it like, they're like, it doesn't feel like them anymore. They're like, that's not me, because I'm here looking at it. And then there's lots of other themes. Do you guys want me to go into it or not? Thank you, Tim. I hope you had a good day too. Death isn't different than life, and everyone seemed to enjoy being alive. Thank you for your comment. Okay, death maybe isn't so scary as everyone was dead for billions of years before birth, but the feeling of unknown and not existing for eternity might be terrifying. Have you ever visited India? No. I'm not preaching. I'm not Christian. We're talking about spirituality, and we're currently talking about near-death experiences and death in general. I had a near-death experience with an odd hell. Was in an underground cave and it was ice cold. Why are you talking about death? I honestly like think about death every day. And I think it improves my life when I remind myself I'm going to die, especially when I'm worrying about things that are so, like, things that haven't even happened. It's like, hang on a second. Or like I'm worrying about small things. I feel like when I remind myself that I'm going to die, it puts things into perspective. And like the thought of like we're gonna die makes me feel a little bit more lucid as well. I'm like, whoa, okay, what is this right now that I am here experiencing? Does anyone ever feel like that? Do you ever just like have a moment where you're like, you realize that you're like in some sort of game and you're like, what is going on? It's really weird. Have you ever experienced sleep paralysis? Sorry. Yes, so many times. I get it quite frequently, but the last time I had it was probably a month ago. What do you have in your hand? I have a pen. I don't believe in heaven and hell, guys, in the Christian sense. I believe that heaven and hell is a state of consciousness that we can experience here and now, only in the here and now. And it all has to do with what frequency we're tuned into. Are we tuned into love or tuned into fear? Are we focusing on love or are we focusing on fear? Okay, someone said you're so mistaken. Tell me why. Then you must come to India. Because great philosophers came from India and gave the world the most beautiful concepts. I would love to, you know. Thank you. It's so late at night. It's 1:15. It's not 1:15 because I'm in the UK and it's actually like nearly 8 o'clock. Okay, so someone said that they were working really hard and then not really focused on romantic relationships. And now you said it seems that you have everything but you're alone. After so long, I suddenly feel the most need for a female companion. I get you. Like when you're working so hard on something and then like you're not really focusing on getting romantic relationships, but now that you have everything, it's like, okay, well, now I want that romantic relationship. It's like a new need comes. Every time we achieve something, a new thing comes up online. It's like we never get to the point where we're just fully happy and fulfilled with everything, unless you're just really content. Like if you can find peace in the now with no matter what's going on in your life, that's the only way to find true long-lasting peace. But if you're chasing like a achievement, then once you get there, there's always going to be a new desire. We always have a new desire once we meet our desire. So it's not a bad thing. Like you're feeling alone, and like I get it, it's really hard and it can be really challenging for those feelings to come up. But also now you know you have a new need and you can start calling that in, you know? Like it's fun and exciting to think of what kind of relationship you want. To get out there and, you know, start talking to new girls, new women. Tim said, did you do anything fun today? Did I do anything fun? I went to this big nature place and I took some videos, so that was fun. What about you? Physical pleasure is okay or bad? Are you talking about, okay, physical pleasure? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with physical pleasure. Someone said, please explain how you tune into different frequencies scientifically. I've done lots of research on this and it all comes back to one answer, God. Hey Taran, welcome back. So I don't know how to explain this scientifically because my subconscious is not so much filled with all the science. It's more experience and spiritual experience. So I can answer it from my perspective, how to tune your body to different frequencies. For me, it's like everything starts in the mind. So there's different ways that you can do it. Like, for example, the food you eat is gonna shift your frequency. The exercise is gonna can shift your frequency massively. Doing lots of different things, it really depends what you're trying to achieve, but it's also, everything starts in the mind. So if you were trying to shift yourself to a higher frequency and you're trying to do that through exercise, depending on what you're thinking is going to have a different outcome on the exercise that you do, right? For example, if you're exercising from a place of self-hate, like, oh, I just hate my body, like I need to force myself into looking better, so I'm just going to go and do this run or whatever, that's going to have a different outcome to if you were exercising from a place of self-love. If you were exercising with the intention of, I'm so grateful for my body, and so today I'm going to go and have fun with it and exercise out of gratitude, you're going to be in a different frequency depending on your intention. So I think intention has a massive influence on our frequency, what thoughts we're thinking. And it's also very deep because our subconscious mind contains so many very, very like deep rooted beliefs, patterns. So when we are doing like affirmations, for example, like the ones I was reading out today from my book, or doing gratitude journaling or whatever, this is all very conscious process. But we also have so many deep rooted subconscious beliefs and thoughts that are affecting our vibration. It's like they're, I don't know, it's like they're in the backlog, you know? So we have to also become aware of our patterns that are deeply rooted in order to shift to a different frequency. Like, you can write affirmations all day, but if you have emotions coming up that you're not dealing with, then you're not going to be able to really shift the pattern that emotion is trying to make you aware of. Sometimes affirmations and gratitude journaling and things like that can actually be used to bypass, which just keeps you stuck in a lower frequency. You can't actually ever get like higher because you're not releasing the resistance that in the form of conditioning and patterns that is actually keeping you stuck in a lower frequency. Someone said intentions are hard to judge for a partner, but how a partner acts is easier to grasp. Yes, because I think that our intentions are massively influencing our actions. So a lot of the time when someone is very good at speaking, but their actions don't match up, you can kind of tell what their intentions are by what the things that they do, you know. I also think when you start to really tune in with your own intentions and become more sensitive of your inner world, your psychic realms, your imagination realms, I think it's all the same thing, honestly, then you can start to tap into like the energy field of others, and you can feel their intentions. Do you know that a glass of water charged with positive words can actually heal your internal problems because water has the power to hold memory? Yes, I do this every day as well. When I have my water, I do speak to my water. And I find that over time doing this has helped me to have a stronger relationship with the water. Like, I just find, this is why I feel like I'm never alone, because I just feel like everything has its own consciousness and its own personality and its own medicine. So I could literally sit here and just connect with this glass of water. And just say how grateful I am for it. Thank you, water. I love you. Bye, Zaza. I'm connected with ants. Ah, love that. What are the ants saying? Yes, treating your holy rivers as treating your holy rivers as living being. I love that. I really do feel like water is so alive. Hey Ahmed, welcome back. It's nice to see you. If anyone has ever tried this chocolate, it's so good. Bye Zaza. Thank you. What did I study? I'm always studying, honestly. I love to learn about spirituality, philosophy. You will learn so much that even books can't give you such practical knowledge on spirituality. Wow. I do really feel like the best wisdom that I get is from experience. Life. The most challenging things. No, it's not a Werther. It's chocolate. It's almond butter chocolate. It's good, thank you. Guys, please be more conscious in the chat. Be conscious when you're sending messages, because we're just going to delete them, honestly, and then stop you from being able to comment. I'm not frozen. I'm just chilling. I'm just chilling. I'm a little bit tired today, so I'm not really like gonna answer questions unless they're actually to do with spirituality or something that I feel like interested to answer. I'm not doing tarot readings. Why? Do you want me to? Do you follow Schumann resonance? No, but what is that? Isn't that like the frequency of nature or something? The more and more I want something, the opposite happens, even though it says the world conspires that you get what you want. Why? Okay, it's a good question. And I was thinking about this today. Because the more we want something, it's because we don't believe that we can have it. Like if your body goes into this like really intense feeling of I really want this thing, it's because you're having some resistance that you're not like, you want it so badly because you don't actually believe that you're going to have it. And the universe is reflecting back to us our core beliefs, our self-concept, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe that we can achieve, what we believe that we can attract. And so if we are really wanting something, then we're actually pushing it further away because we're not in this state of like, I believe that it's going to come. And when you truly believe that something is already on its way to you, there's actually a very peacefulness to that. You're in this state of calm certainty that it's going to manifest, or that you already have what you need to manifest it, or that it's going to come to you, or you just don't mind how it happens or who it happens with. But if we are like projecting out that I want this one person, for example, and I really want them, it's because there's an aspect of ourselves that is actually in opposition to getting that person, because that aspect of ourselves believes something about ourselves that is in opposition to getting it. You can test this, like when you notice yourself really wanting something, ask yourself why. Why do I want this so much? And if you feel like intense feelings of like, it can be excitement or anxiety, ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Or like sometimes I'm using the example of when you really like someone and you really want a specific person, and you're thinking all these thoughts about them, and how you really badly just like want them to be yours or whatever. Like you want to kind of, whatever it is that you want from them, right? Tune into how your body feels in that moment, and then notice what thoughts are connected with notice what thoughts are connected with how you're feeling when you think about this person. Is it peaceful, that you like certainty that you know that they're going to, that they like you, or that, you know, something's going to happen? Or is it like kind of like this feeling of desperation? Because that feeling of desperation is a sign that you're actually believing that it's not going to happen. And then you want to figure out why you believe that, because those beliefs are often not true. They're just beliefs that we have about ourselves. Okay, so Alex, or Red Devil, you said, that's what I feel most of the time. I have autism and I feel deeply invested in a girl when I like them. It's hard to get out of that feeling. Do you find that it pushes them away when you're in that space? Because when there's that feeling of like being so invested to someone to the point where you're like kind of pining after them, or like yearning for them, or it's like desperation, and you notice that these relationships never really work out, like they end up pulling away when you're in that frequency. So what you want to do if you notice this, that you're noticing that you're feeling that desperation for someone, maybe you're overthinking about things that you said to them or how you can get their attention. What you want to do is bring your attention to the feelings that you're having in your body in that moment. And have compassion for yourself, because what's happening is something's coming up to the surface that needs to be looked at when you're in that state of feeling desperate. There's a part of you that needs to be released in order for you to shift the concept or the belief that you have about yourself that is coming up in that moment. If that makes sense. Do you want to put your attention on the feeling? And from that perspective of you're observing that feeling, you create a little bit of space between you and the feeling. So you're no longer identified with it. And then once you're no longer identified with it, it just starts to naturally heal, because you're allowing it to be, you've become aware of it. So it's no longer like running the show. Amy, I feel like when I like a girl, I think that I'm already their boyfriend, and so I get emotionally attached. Do you mean like, okay, before you've even asked them out, you're already thinking that you're their boyfriend? It sounds to me like you're not allowing enough time to really get to know them, because if you're not even their boyfriend yet, like, you have to remember that relationships are complex, and so it takes a while for us to get to know each other. So if you've already decided that like this person is for you and you haven't really even got to know them yet, it's like, what is it about them that you believe that you're so set on? Why do you think that they are like, this is because sometimes I feel like what I'll do is, like, if I'm in a situation where I really like someone, for example, then sometimes you just have to take a little step back and just remind yourself that it takes time to get to know someone. I just feel like I do things that couples would do and act weird. Okay, what's the problem with doing things that couples would do, though? Like, for you? And what do you mean you act weird? Sagar, you said I'm not sure what to do. What do you mean? To do with what? Andre, what's going on here? Well, we're just talking about life. I have social anxiety, so starting conversations is difficult and I feel I make it awkward. When the social anxiety comes up, like practicing putting your attention on it is the best thing that I've ever done. Obviously, you guys, I mean, you probably already know, Alex, that I had social anxiety a lot growing up. And it still comes up sometimes, depending on the situation that I'm in. And so I have really learned to bring my attention into my body. If I'm feeling the social anxiety come up, it's like what's happening is my attention has gone into my thoughts and it's thinking about all of these different things that are not even to do with the conversation that I'm having with the person. It could be that I'm like just trying to think of ways to, I don't know, it's like you're not present in the moment. So when that happens, when you notice this happening to you, when you're speaking to someone and you're noticing the social anxiety come up, you want to bring your focus away from your thoughts and bring it in down into the body. And keep saying to yourself, I'm completely here with you now. Like, you've got to keep practicing that over and over again and it will get easier. Yeah, and someone said you have to ask yourself why you're anxious. You can do that, and you can also do shadow work. If you get like a really big trigger, like it's really... Shadow work has helped me to heal my anxiety a lot, so... Alex, if you want some deeper guidance with it, then you can send me an email and we can talk about doing a one-to-one session if you feel called, because I would love to work with people that do need help going through shadow work for social anxiety, because it's something that I am very experienced with. It's just hard though. How can I do that and also make conversation? Like I'm mentally making notes. Well, because you have to trust that when you're present, the right words will come through at the right time. Like when someone's speaking to you, if you're fully listening to them with all your presence, then the right words will arise in the moment. And HS says, what's shadow work? Shadow work is a process of going very deep into your subconscious through different practices, meditative practices, and retrieving or uncovering patterns, uncovering beliefs, memories that are stuck in our subconscious in order to bring them to the surface. The reason we want to do this is because most of our life is run by our subconscious mind. Like everything we're experiencing, we're filtering through our subconscious mind. And so we have all these beliefs that are stuck in the subconscious mind, all these beliefs and programs and conditioning that we have accumulated throughout our whole lives, and ancestors, and maybe past lives if you believe in that. And so, and I do believe, but when we do shadow work, we are able to change these subconscious patterns. What's your favorite movie? I don't know. I like Inception. I haven't watched it in years. I like Moana, but I kind of rinsed it. Amy, for example, my crush hugged me because I got her Valentine's Day card, and after the hug, I was like, fuck, what do I say now? Do you practice meditation? Because I would advise for you to start incorporating a daily meditation practice into your every day. I would say even do it twice, honestly. If you could do 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes at night every day, this is going to help you to get into your body, get out of your mind. Because like you just said, if you, like, after she hugged you, you noticed your mind being like, what the fuck do I do now? And like, that's okay, that's good. You're like aware of that happening. A lot of people wouldn't even be aware of that. So it's good that you are aware. And when you notice that happening, bringing your attention back down into the body and just trusting that maybe you don't need to say anything in that moment until the right thing actually comes. We have to get really comfortable with being silent sometimes to wait for the actual guidance or the actual words that are meant to come through in the moment. Who wants to meditate? Because I'm in the mood to just do a meditation, honestly. But I might read some more affirmations. Okay, let's do some. Okay, one of the affirmations that I like here is, I do not beg for loyalty. I command it through my soul. Let me start that again. Okay, I do not beg for loyalty. I command it through my certainty. Okay, I do not argue for love. I do not argue for love. I dwell in it. I dwell in it and let the unworthy fall away. I love deeply, but I love myself first. Yes. Car's the oak. I agree with you about the meditation. Hi, Stephen. Welcome back. Do you know about the transmigration of the soul? What does that mean? Okay, I am open to what matches my vision. Ooh, I do not compromise on love because I know what real love feels like. Expansive, complete, honoring. I do not compromise on love because I know what real love feels like. Expansive, complete, honoring. I hold the vision and allow the world to stretch to it. I hold the vision and allow the world to stretch to it. I don't argue for love. I dwell in it till the nightly stars become bright without a thought of a broken heart. That is beautiful, James Chapman. If it does not reflect my inner claim, it has no place in my life. If it does not reflect my inner claim of love, my inner claim, it has no place in my life. This is how we filter out the relationships that are not good for us, guys. We have to remind ourselves, if this relationship is not reflecting my inner claim of love, that I am loved, that I'm worthy, that I am wanted, that I am beautiful, needed, cherished, then it has no place in my life. It's like if someone does something to me that contradicts my inner claim of love, I'm like, this is nothing to do with me. This has to do with their state of consciousness. How much they're able to be in service and to be loving with their words and their actions. It's nothing to do with me. It's just whether I want to tolerate it or not. What would the most highest version of yourself that knows it is loved, knows it is worthy, knows that it is cherished, what would that version of yourself tolerate in others? Would it tolerate anything that contradicts your self-concept of love? Okay, the more loyal I am to myself, the more loyal the world is to me. The more loyal I am to myself, the more loyal the world is to me. By what logic? I don't think this is to do with logic. Sometimes a lot of spiritual concepts don't really compute in the logical mind. Our logical mind can't even grasp some spiritual concepts, or a lot of spiritual concepts. It's the kind of things that you have to experience to trust. Like when it comes to the law of attraction and consciously manifesting what you want, a lot of it has to do with trying these practices and then realizing that they work, because the logical mind is going to be like, that's not going to work. We have to get out of our logical mind sometimes. It's useful, obviously, in some cases, but we have to get out of our logical mind. We have to get out of our conditioning to be able to practice these spiritual practices that have been suppressed. I just love is infinite and I am its channel. Love is infinite and I am its channel. Why superiority complex people not successful if manifestation works? Because a superiority complex is not rooted in true empowerment and true self-love. Superiority complex is rooted in insecurity. You try to put other people down because of your belief in separation or because you haven't remembered your divinity. And so when we're trying to put other people down, it's because it's coming from some insecurity. So you're not going to manifest success. Or what did you ask me? Hang on. Okay, why are they not successful? Because if their self-belief is rooted in insecurity, then that's going to be reflected in their outer world. No matter how much their outside performance makes them seem like they are in love with themselves, if there is an inner belief deep down that they are not worthy, or that they are not enough, then that's going to be reflected in their outer world. People that like walk around and you can feel that they think that they're better than other people, it's really just a front for feeling less than. Roshan, what is spirituality? Thank you for asking. Spirituality, when people ask me this, I always say this definition that Eckhart Tolle gives, which I really like. And it's that spirituality has nothing to do with your belief, but it has everything to do with your state of consciousness. Does it have to be linked to religion? No. Well, I don't think that, you know that the original word for religion, it was like a Latin word, religio, or how, I don't know how it's said, but that word actually means to bind with God, or to find God. I don't know the exact definition, but it means to be united with God. So that's where the word religion comes from. But so realistically, like I always say, I'm not religious, but if I was to go by the actual original meaning of the word religious, I am religious because I have a connection with the divine, and I am very much practicing my connection with God every day intentionally. So, but I think the word religion has become something different over time. Hey Hannah, welcome. Nice to see you again. Reality is what we create with our thoughts. Exactly. And the more people that can start to wake up to this, the better. We just have to start. It's all about trust. Honestly, I've realized that when it comes to creating our own reality, the thing that holds us back so much is trust in the divine, trust in what we're actually being guided to do. Like our intuition is being guided to what we're being guided to do from our intuition, trusting that that is the right thing. So we need to work on our trust with ourselves and our trust with the divine. And the way that you do that is by, you have to just start doing things, start practicing the different techniques that are perfect for consciously manifesting, starting off with small things, because if you try to do it with things that are really big, you're likely to not believe that you're going to be able to do that. So it needs to be something that you actually can believe that you can start to manifest. Like taking one step at a time, you know? Guys, if you're here, say hi. Let us know where you're from. I don't follow any religion. I like to learn about lots of different spiritual traditions, lots of different teachers. I like to learn from just all the spiritual happenings in the world. Do you follow Jesus? I don't know if follow is the right word, but I do have a relationship with Jesus. I do love to call in Jesus. I love the energy of Jesus. I do think that whenever someone calls on Jesus, like, you can actually really feel his energy. I can. I find him to be a very beautiful, loving, protective, safe energy. And so I love to speak to him. But I have to say, I do disagree with you that all other teachings are demonic. I don't agree with that. I think there's many ways to God. Many. Okay. You seem like a very smart person. Have you ever thought about your belief system in a critical way? Can you tell me, like, what do you mean? Have I ever thought about my belief system in a critical way? Like, do I question my beliefs, you mean? Ah, Scene saying, of course I remember you. Welcome back. How are you feeling? I'm writing in my gratitude journal / affirmation journal. Thank you, David. Small acts of kindness is all that's needed, less selfishness. Which language are you writing in? I'm writing in English. How do we become aware of what's good for us and what's just habits? Thank you, Hannah, for your question. I love that question. How do we become aware what's good for us and what's just habits? Well, we are creatures of habit. So I think to become aware of what habits are good for you is just becoming aware of how the habits are making you feel. What kind of thoughts do these habits create? Like, for example, when I used to smoke weed a lot, there was a point where I was smoking weed like every day. And for me, I knew that that was not a good habit because there were certain things that it was just getting in the way of. Like me doing my creative projects and really following through with them, or being consistent on YouTube. It was getting in the way of that. So I would wake up feeling really crap, and I would have a lot of negative thoughts about like how, how I felt about myself for doing what I was doing. And so it was obvious to me that that habit was not good for me. I think deep down, we know what habits are good for us and what habits are not good for us. Like, have you got any specific examples that you want to share? I think it's really down to like, how do we feel after we just engaged? Or whilst we're engaging, or... Do you question your beliefs, but also would you go as far as to argue against them? So I think that it's definitely an intriguing thing to ask, because I think it's actually important to do that. I think that I probably haven't enough, but I do also, I'm a very, very diplomatic person. I tend to see both sides quite easily, and I do think that there is truth in everyone's perspective. Even just a tiny bit of truth, you know? Maybe not everyone's perspective and all perspectives, but there's usually some where that you can link or understand it from a completely different state of consciousness. But I do like to watch videos that are like arguing against the things that I believe in. Like, for example, I love to watch debates with people that are from Christianity and people that are spiritual, because I find it so interesting to see what their different viewpoints are. And then to see where I feel like I line up with. Scene saying, I am better. I've realized that most trauma is stored in our nervous system, hence meditation. And clamping nerves is so important. That's the only way to fight all problems. Wow. Did you realize this like since the last live or from doing your meditation? Thanks for sharing. Okay, Hannah, I'm just reading your other comment where you said, what is the version of ourselves that is completely perfect and how do we know for sure we've reached that? Okay, what is coming to me right now is that there isn't a version of ourselves. It's like a paradox, because the version of yourself that you're experiencing right now, on one hand, is perfect, but on another hand, it's not perfect, because nothing can be so perfect in this realm. It's like our soul is so pure without the incarnation into form. But when we come into our bodies, we have chosen to come into a planet that has challenges so that we can grow. And so everything's not meant to be so perfect. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to expand our soul's growth. So, but to answer your question of how do we, because there is also another perspective that I would look at this in terms of what version of ourselves is completely perfect, because this reminds me of the book I'm writing, which is all to do with living from your higher self. And so I would say the higher self is the aspect of us that is very pure, very clear, very it's timeless, it's limitless, it has this kind of perfection to it, because it's this version of ourselves that is existing in the spiritual dimension, but it's not like we are just that. When we are here, we are experiencing life through the prism and the filters of our human consciousness. So what I would do every day is tune in with my higher self, like literally ask myself to, I'll say like, I now tune in with my higher self, or I say I'm calling in my higher self. That version of me, that aspect of me that is perfect, or I don't know if perfect's the right word, but it's pure and clear. I call it in so that I can try to align with it as much as I can, and then manifest from that place, take actions from that place. But I'm never going to get it all like currently, as I am in this state of consciousness on my journey, it's like I'm not going to get it perfect every time, because every day is different. Some days I feel like more connected to my higher self. Some days I feel a little bit less. It just depends on a lot of different conditions, a lot of different things flowing through my system. Like, how conscious have I been? How well have I been looking after myself? Have I been spending time with people that nourish my being, or have I been spending time with people that are depleting my energy? Do I feel drained? Have I been setting boundaries? Like, all that stuff is going to have a impact into how well I'm able to connect with my higher self and stay in a very conscious place. But the version of ourselves that is perfect is the version of ourselves that exists in the present moment. The more conscious we can be, the closer we become to being in harmony with ourselves and with others. So working on bringing more consciousness to the planet by being present. I do believe in souls, yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Bram, to the live stream. I'm doing well. How are you? How far, okay, Roshan, how far would you try for something which doesn't have an upper limit? How far would you try for something which doesn't have an upper limit, but you would always have a feeling of improvement? I would try until I feel like there's nothing left for me there anymore, and it's time to move on. Someone said, I think soul is nothing but initial philosophers like Plato and Aristotle made due to lack of education in society. When we move further, we know that there is no soul, and we called it mind. I would disagree with that, because I think if you look into near-death experiences, you might change your mind about that. Okay. Sin saying, yes, post the last live when you calmly spoke to me and brought that awareness about my suffering being a choice and how I need to look inwards. I also read a lot of it since Alan Watts, Carl Jung and more. Amazing. Another question, what do you think the self is? Someone asked me this the other day. The self. It's, I think in the deepest, from the deepest perspective, the self is just consciousness. It's just our pure consciousness, our being. And then you have a self-concept, which is created by the ego. Okay, Hannah, I love that answer. I feel like I need to be more present. Oh, someone said, suggest me something to clear my Mind up, spirit 0501. Suggest me something to clear my mind up. Okay. Do you exercise? Maybe doing like 20 minutes of cardio every day. That's like a really good way to start burning. Like, think about your thoughts. Like, your thoughts are energy. So if you're having a lot of active, if your mind is very active, you have a lot of energy that is up in your mind. So you want to start burning up that energy with, you can do it with cardio, or literally try just doing 20 minutes, because that's enough to burn up a lot of thoughts and energy in the mind. And that's what's coming to me right now, so I'm going to trust that. There's many ways that you can clear your mind. Meditation, you know, breath work, movement, dancing. Okay, Hannah Lucy. How do we reach our higher selves? We have to start clearing away anything that is in resistance to our higher self, anything that is blocking us. So when we first start meditating, you might notice that, you know, you have a lot of thoughts, a lot of stuff clouding your experience. So if you can imagine your higher self being like the blue sky, everything that's not the higher self is clouds. And these are all thoughts, beliefs, conditioning, programs. And so these clouds, they are like a fog, fogging up the higher self. So we have to start clearing away these clouds by being by observing them, where we start to rise above them, and they start to kind of dissolve. They're not so much, when we're not aware of the clouds can multiply a lot easier. Whereas when we start to put our attention on them, they start to clear, and we start to create more space between each thought or cloud. And so then you can start to see clearer behind all of that, what's deeper than all of these thoughts, and that's the higher self. So it's all about clearing away what is in the way of hearing your intuition, hearing the quiet whispers of your higher self, which are very calm and peaceful. Okay, Spirit 0501, suggest me something to clear my lost mind. I'm always distracted and zoned out. So the thing that's coming to me right now is that there's something inside of your energy field or your emotional body that you're not tapping into. And so you need to bring your attention inwards and really feel into what it is that is coming up before you get distracted or before you zone out. So if you can catch yourself just before that moment just before you distract, or you catch yourself whilst you're distracted, if you become conscious whilst you're doing it, you've noticed that you've started procrastinating, or that you've distracted yourself with something, or you notice that you're zoned out, immediately bring your attention into the body and notice what feelings are connected to you going into this habit. especially a good way to become aware of these things is to try to notice before you even do it. Like, what is driving you to zone out? Because usually it's because there's something in your energy field that you're not wanting to look at. There's something in your emotional, there's something that you're not dealing with emotionally. And I could ask you that question. Is there something that you're not dealing with emotionally? Is there anything that comes up for you when that question is asked? It's usually the first thing that comes up. You probably won't want to look at it, because the reason why you're zoning out is because it's like your mind is wanting to go further away from whatever it is that you are avoiding inside. It's like this kind of coping mechanism, because whatever is inside is like being perceived as too painful. It's like there's fear around really looking at it. But once you do look at it, you'll probably realize that what you were scared of isn't actually, it's an illusion. And like the things that our mind creates fear around, or like when we're rooted in fear, those fears are not real. They're a projection of something that might happen in the future, or something that happened to us in the past. It's not actually happening right now. So when we can actually look at the fear, it can be so scary to do that at first. But when we do that, it's so liberating, because we're able to see it for what it is. It's just a fear. It's not actually real. And you can ask yourself, I do this all day, every single day. When I notice a fear come up, or an anxious thought, a thought that is rooted in fear, or something that is connected to anxiety, or something that is connected to a self-belief that is diminishing me in some way, I will ask myself, how can I know that this is 100% true? And that always liberates me in some way, because usually the answer is it's not 100% true. And then I'll ask myself, is there any evidence that contradicts this belief I'm having? Like, for example, if I'm having the belief that I am ugly come up, right? And I notice that, then I can really look at it and ask myself, is this 100% true? No, it's not 100% true. How can I know that this is, like, is there any evidence that suggests that I'm not ugly? You know, and then I can start looking for that evidence. Or maybe someone told me that I looked nice the other day, or someone complimented me, or maybe there's aspects of myself that I do see are beautiful. Like, I like my hair, or you can start looking for alternatives, and that can start to release you from the fear. Can we please get real and talk about pragmatic things instead of hypothetical things? Yes, ask a question that is very specific. Okay, Scene saying there are a lot of debates about this in the spiritual realm. Most spiritual teachings lean towards there being no concept of self. Self is, like you said, concept of ego that I focused on, possessive. Yeah, I think that there is, like, that I also heard, okay, there's this guy called, there's this guy on YouTube called Aaron Abke, and he talks all about Christianity from like a mystical, spiritual perspective. I love his channel, it's so good. And he was saying the other day, I watched one of his videos the other day, and he was talking about how there's actually one ego, and that is the collective ego. and that we're all plugged into the collective ego, which I thought was really interesting. And he was saying how within the collective ego, there is all of these patterns, and it's all conditioning and programs and all of that stuff. And so when we feed into one of those patterns, we feed into the collective pattern, the collective ego. But when we stop feeding it, we actually decrease the power of that pattern in the collective ego, which is so cool. That's why doing our own individual work is so important, because we're either feeding the collective ego in a destructive way, or we are helping to bring more consciousness to the planet. In the moment, have you had enough to peace? In the moment, have you had enough peace to be? Hannah, I don't know what that one says. I'm sorry. Okay, Spirit 0501. I got zero motivation towards anything. I'm fed up after some time. Okay. So the thing that's coming to me right now is trying new things. I don't know if that is going to resonate with you or not, but sometimes when we're in this state of having no motivation and just not wanting to do anything, it can really help to just try new stuff. Like anything that's calling you that you just feel like you might want to try could be a good way to get you out of that. And also, I know you were saying that you're feeling a bit lost. Have you tried asking yourself why? Go into a little discovery. You could even journal. I would highly recommend journaling. You could literally journal it out I don't want to do anything because, and then what's the reason why? I feel like I have, or I can't, I'm just fed up because, and then what comes out when you say that? Why are you fed up? In a few days, if I don't see anything moving, then I'll just quit. Okay, so that's going to be a problem because, of course, when it comes to creating something that is long lasting, you have to be able to do things for consistently. And so if you're quitting very soon on, if I was in that predicament, which I have been before, it's you get to a certain point and just wanting to quit. And usually that's because there is fear coming up around what it is that I'm doing. It gets to the point where you're doing something for a few days or even months or weeks or however long it is, and it starts to feel like you were saying nothing's moving. And this is something that you have to become aware of. This is part of the process of building stable foundations. We all have to go through periods of time where it feels like nothing is happening. But those periods of time are very important for us to continue sowing seeds and nurturing those seeds. And then what you'll find is those actions will compound over time. And then it will be a few months later or a year later, and then you'll start to see opportunities come, or things will start to come from all of those seeds that you sowed. But you have to have trust. You have to have trust that what it is that you're doing, whatever it is that you're feeling called to do, is guidance that is, for one, sent from your divine, the aspect of yourself that is divine, and trusting that whatever the divine is asking of you to do, you're going to be supported to do that by the universe. And when you get those moments where you feel like, okay, nothing's moving, I need to quit, reminding yourself that strong foundations are built on these moments of when you want to quit, you've got to keep going. Or asking yourself why you want to quit. What is it that you want to, maybe you need a little rest. Sometimes I want to quit because I'm like, I just need a rest and I'm resisting the rest. Or sometimes I want to quit because I start to have all these thoughts about like fears that nothing I'm doing is going to work or it's going to fail. And then I have to really question that. Is that true? How can I 100% know that's true? Do I want to align with those beliefs? Like, if you think about how this universe is governed by the law of attraction or the law of mirroring, which means that our experience is reflecting our self-concept. It's reflecting our beliefs, our deep-rooted subconscious beliefs. And so if you are, and if you are noticing that you want to quit, and then you ask yourself, why do I want to quit? And the thought comes up that's like, because this is not going to work out. You've just uncovered a belief. The belief is that this is not going to work out. So now that you've uncovered that belief, it's no longer just running subconsciously without you even knowing it. That's a massive step forward because you've just uncovered it. So now you've just raised your vibration a little bit just by becoming aware of this belief. Okay, this belief that is not in alignment. And then you ask yourself, do I want to align with this belief? Do I want to align with the belief that is saying, this is not going to work out? If I want to align with that belief, this is not going to work out, which most of us don't, then I will just quit. So therefore, you've just proven that your belief creates your reality because you have just allowed yourself to align with that belief of this is not going to work out. And you've created that experience of it's not going to work out by unconsciously just literally aligning with that belief. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Or you can uncover the belief and then say, okay, do I want to align with this belief that this is not going to work out for me? I don't want to align with that. So let me choose a new belief. This is going to work out for me. What would I do if I truly believed that? I would continue going on, or maybe I'd take a rest and I would reflect, see how I want to move forwards with it. Sometimes quitting, like sometimes I used to think that like resting was quitting, but resting isn't quitting. Sometimes we just need a break for even, however long your break is needed to be, whether that is a day or a few months. That doesn't mean you've quit all the time. It might mean that you just need to recuperate. You need to reflect. You need to figure out what it is that you need to do to move forwards, and then take that one little step forwards. It doesn't need to be everything all at once. I'm always reminding myself every day, just taking one step today towards my goals, and then I feel happy. Just one little step, and each step will compound. Every time we take a step, those steps compound over years and years and years, and then eventually we start to see the fruits of our labor. For some people it's less time, for some people it's more, but that's not for us to worry about. That's for the universe to worry about. The universe is going to be pushing us, or your intuition, your higher self, is going to be guiding you to do the next step that is perfect for this moment. It's perfect. It's the perfect step for you right now. You're not going to be guided to do something that you're not capable of doing yet. So just remember that just because you haven't manifested the absolute dream, the pinnacle experience of what you want to experience, It doesn't mean that you're not going to get there. It just means that you're being prepared for that experience. You just have to continue moving and keep on. And like I said, sometimes moving does look like rest, but it's the state of consciousness that you have. Because you can rest, but you're not having the state of consciousness of like, I give up completely. Or sometimes we like have to give up, but we know we're going to return back to our commitment, you know? What about whispers that are very loud and repulsive? When you have thoughts that are like destructive thoughts like that, we basically want to stop feeding them. The way that we stop feeding a negative or destructive, harmful thought pattern is by putting our absolute full consciousness on it. Because what happens is these negative thoughts or destructive thoughts, they have a certain frequency. They have this denser, lower vibrational frequency, and they feed off of other lower vibrational frequencies. So when we're not aware of them, they accumulate, and our subconscious starts to find more thoughts that are similar. And this is what happens when we're unconscious of them. But when we start to bring our full attention onto them, then they're not being fed anymore by the unconscious loop. I also do this thing where it's like, if I notice these really destructive thoughts or harmful thoughts in my own system, I will treat those thoughts like they are in pain. I will send compassion to them. This is like a direct way to the vision I get in my mind is like when you're putting out a fire. It's like you're putting water on a fire. Like imagine those destructive thoughts are like the fire. When you put compassion onto them, it puts the fire out. It's like it can no longer feed. It can no longer spread when you're putting your compassion onto it. So the way that I would do this is I would say to myself, like if I notice a thought about myself, like something like destructive, and usually it's like going around in a loop, I'll stop myself in that moment and I'll say, and I'll send my attention to the feeling, and I'll say, I'm completely here with you now. Or I'll say to myself, thank you for making me aware. Like I'm grateful that I'm aware that these thoughts are happening, that I'm having these thoughts, or that these thoughts are coming up to my surface. And once I start to say I'm grateful for them, you start to tune into gratitude instead of being unconsciously tuned into or focused on the negative. So we want to be trying to get ourselves to focus on more positive thoughts as much as we can. But sometimes that means going into the darkness and bringing it up, which is what I do in the one-to-ones, because this is such an important part of raising the vibration and having a higher connection with your higher self. A better connection with your higher self is really doing like deep subconscious reprogramming practices that will help you to heal these aspects of yourself that are so deeply in there, which are not so easy to do just from like affirmations and positive thinking. Sometimes you have to go deeper in to really like retrieve these things and kind of get them out, or to get them to shift. Decca Harath, you said you're genuinely asking, but I don't see your question. So maybe you could, if you want to put it again, you could. I love Alan Watts. Okay, my question is, I hear you say the word energy a lot. What is this energy and how do we measure it? Or what units do we use for measuring it? So the reason why I say energy a lot is because I am personally, like, my human state is very energetically bound. Like I have a very feeling experience. So for me, the way when I'm speaking about energy, it's very much an experiential feeling thing. It's like also to do with, I have a very active and a very strong visual imagination realm. So when I can feel certain energies, I can also see how the energies are showing up in a visual sense. So when I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. How do we measure it? Or like, I don't really know how to answer that. What is this energy? I mean, everything is energy. I think I'm just very, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just tapped into it, I guess. It's all about feeling. Okay, so Spirit 0501, to be honest, I'm riled up every time when I fail. First of all, I just want to answer that part because something that someone said to me before, which really helps, is that there's no such thing as failure. It's just lessons. Like, we're on this journey of working towards a goal, and we're never gonna get it right every time. And every time we do something that doesn't work, that is just giving you information. That is part of the process for you to get to the vision that you're holding of yourself. And even once you get to that vision that you're holding of yourself, like, what if you, once you do end up getting there, there's going to be a new vision. That goalpost is going to move. And you would have noticed by the time that you got to this next one that, okay, failure is part of the process. And it's not even failure. When you start to see it as lessons and that you're constantly learning, you're constantly up leveling through going towards what you want. Because when we go towards what we desire, there's this gap, right? So this is you now. And this is you that you envision yourself to be in the future. So there is this gap in between that you need to close. And this is all to do with our thoughts and our beliefs and how we see ourselves and the things we've learned and stuff like that. So what we need to learn in order to get to this point. So if you can see this journey as just, it's going to be a spiral of you going, sometimes things are going to go well, sometimes things are going to not go to plan. Sometimes things are going to feel really good, sometimes things are going to feel like it's not really, nothing's really moving. Sometimes it's going to feel like there's loads of opportunities, sometimes it's going to feel like there's not. Sometimes it's going to feel like something you did worked, and sometimes it's going to feel like it's not working. But each time this happens, you're learning more and more and more. And sometimes what happens is we get stuck in the micro moments, like day to day. Like what, like today I posted this and it only got 1 like. Like what, but you need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. It's like over time, when you keep doing these things and you're going on this journey of this spiral, those years in between these 2 points of yourself, you're going to learn so much and you're going to grow so much. So you want to start to, when you notice that point where, okay, you've failed, like you said, something didn't go to plan or something didn't go how you wanted it to, notice those thoughts that come up that triggers in you. Because those thoughts that are coming up that maybe, for me, for example, I notice that I'm like, oh, I'm just a failure. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to question that. Because the more I stay in that frequency of I'm a failure, I'm going to manifest that, because I'm not actually getting back on track and getting back into the cycle of creation. I'm just stuck in this low point of I'm a failure, so there's no point in me doing anything. You know? So you want to really question those beliefs of I'm a failure, and is that true? You know, if you tried something, that's actually a way more than what a lot of people would even do. So maybe you could look at it from a different perspective. And you say that, you know, you get riled up every time you didn't follow something that you should do. Again, it's like we need to be more easy on ourselves, not beat ourselves up when we have made a mistake, right? Maybe I didn't follow through with something like this week. Am I gonna sit around and like beat myself up over it, and then you're basically getting back into this loop of negative, you're focusing on the negative of what, like all these things that are maybe coming up to the surface that are, you're telling yourself that you're not going to make it now because you just like you didn't follow something that you said that you should do? Or are you going to stop yourself there and be like, okay, I didn't do that, then let me learn from this next time. What am I going to do? Am I going to, honestly, as well, the thing that's coming to me right now is when you get into those states is creating stillness in your mind. The best thing we can do in these moments is really start to create space in your mind. So if you notice yourself getting riled up, the first thing I do when I notice myself getting riled up, or I notice myself becoming really unconscious or panicking about, okay, last night I stayed up too late and now I'm staying in bed for too long, like, and then I notice my mind start to spiral and tell me that I'm all these bad things, blah, 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 is I will bring myself into meditation, because I need to just come to stillness. The fact of the matter is, in this moment, nothing bad is happening. I'm here. I still have all day, or like this moment, that I can start to create if I want to. I really start to question everything that is coming through in my internal world, my internal dialogue. And also just finding that space. Start to open up the space between the thoughts. Start to notice the breath, the sound of the breath, lengthening your breath. And then starting to become aware of why you didn't follow through. Starting to become aware of, okay, what, if you notice yourself going to procrastinate, or you notice yourself not wanting to follow through with something, catch yourself in that moment and ask yourself, why don't I want to follow through with this? Is it because there is a fear arising? Is it because you don't want to do it, you want to do something else? You want to really uncover what it is, and then take the action that is, it's taking into account all the parts of yourself. So you might have a part of yourself that wants to do something creative, and you might have a part of yourself that is scared to do something creative because you're scared to put yourself out there, or you're scared of what people are going to think. So what you can do is start to really understand all these parts of yourself, and then find solutions that are in alignment with all of the parts. So you're not leaving any part of yourself out. Okay. Scene saying, Amy, how do you suggest one deal with surroundings one has grown out of? Like my workplace, my social circles. I feel disconnected fully, but work I need for bills. So how does one cope in such places? Okay. So I would first of all want to mention, this is like, I would really highly recommend you watch this video by Till Swan, and it's about coping mechanisms. If you type in Till Swan coping mechanisms, then that's a really, I think, important video to watch, because she talks about how when we are in a situation and we are coping, what we're actually doing is we are bringing ourselves further and further out of alignment. Because if we are in a situation that is not in alignment for us, for example, maybe like you said, let's go with social situations, right? You notice that you are, let's just bring it down to one relationship to make it simple. Let's say that you're in a relationship that you notice is draining you. And so this is feeling painful for you. It's not feeling like a loving relationship. It's might be feeling, like you were saying, you feel disconnected. So if you then try to find ways to cope, what you're doing is you are essentially suppressing the part of you that is trying to make you aware that there's something in this situation that is out of alignment. So when you do that, you push yourself further into being out of alignment, because you're not allowing yourself to really look at why you're out of alignment in the situation. This is what the word coping, like we're coping with things that are out of alignment for us. Like it's kind of like a cover up, like putting a plaster on, or using painkillers to cover something up, when really we need to be looking at the root of it in order to get ourselves into a situation that is in more alignment for us. So I just want to say that first there. But for you, in terms of how to like deal with these kinds of situations, being in surroundings that you've grown out of, maybe there's certain things in the situation that are out of alignment. One thing that you could do is write down a list of how could this be better for me. So if there's certain things, and this is a really good way for you to gain more self-awareness and gain more awareness of what it is that you actually desire, because for us to manifest our true desires, we have to become aware of them. A lot of the time people don't know what they want, and that's why they're so stuck. And also the universe can't really help you if you're not aware of what it is that you want. The universe is always helping us, but anyway, so you can write down a list of, let's say with your work situation, okay? You write down what would make this work situation the best case scenario for me. Like what things can I imagine or creatively think of? And it can be, you can literally, don't do it with any limits. Like imagine that it was just unlimited potential of anything that you could have. Think about your work situation and then write down things that you think will make you feel more fulfilled. So for example, my work situation, like the best case scenario would be that I'm working with people that are also into spirituality and they are wanting to grow, or that I can be more creative in my job, or that the people really have good conflict resolution, right? So these could be all things that you think of. Or like you said, your social circles. So at the moment you've noticed that your social circles aren't quite in alignment for you, or you've grown out of them. So start to think about the things that you don't like, that are unwanted in those social situations, or the things that are unwanted in your workplace. And then how could you improve that? So your social circle, what is it that is unwanted right now in that social circle? And then from that, you can start to uncover things that are wanted. Okay, so let's say that you want social circles where you want to start attracting more people that are into the same things as you, or that you can do certain activities with that you don't feel like you can with your current social circle. You want to be able to speak about things with people that you don't feel like you currently can in your social circle. Maybe that's something, right? So once you start to write this down, you want to start to imagine yourself as if you're already in these situations, and how it feels to be in these situations. Like you've already called in. So that information that you get from what you really want, you can use for your visualizations. Like imagine yourself already being in that. Imagine yourself already, how it feels that you've already achieved that. This is going to start to make your subconscious work in a way where you're going to start to get inspiration for moving towards this manifestation. As well as you might notice, this is all part of becoming, this is all part of manifestation, is once you know what you want from doing these exercises, and you do these visualizations and you're imagining yourself in these situations where you already feel like you've got it, like it's peaceful. It's like this peaceful knowing that I am attracting the people, or the people around me that are really in alignment with me. Like trying to imagine that, you might notice resistance come up. And this resistance is in the form of beliefs or thoughts that are contradicting what it is that you want. And so this is what is keeping us further away from manifesting these people into our lives, or these situations into our lives, is these beliefs that contradict us having it. So you said that work, you need bills. So how does one cope in such places? But of course, you know, there are many ways to make money. There's actually so many ways to make money on this earth. So at the moment, you said that you outgrown your work, but once you start to think about things that you want in your career or your workplace, then you can start to maybe come up with creative ways to start to bring that about in your life. How can you, whether it's that you're going to stay at the same workplace or you're going to look for alternative ways to make money, that is all down to what comes to you in your own creative process, or your own connecting with your higher self. What is your higher self? If you do higher self practices and really asking your intuition, like, okay, it could be as small as, what is one small thing that I can do today to put me on the path of getting closer to the things that I desire, and then seeing what comes through. It could be as small as your intuition might guide you to go on a specific website because there's a specific job that that the universe is calling you to go. Honestly, guys, the amount of things that have just randomly happened for me like this, where I'm really trusting my intuition. I've been tapping into this a lot recently, down to the point where the other day I was watching, so I'll go through my lives right after and I'll make shorts from my lives. And this is so illogical, right? Anyone that is like more logical would probably listen to me and be like, that's fucking ridiculous. But like for me, it's been working so much recently to just trust my intuition. It's like I was going through it's a 4-hour long live, and I'm going through it to try and find good shorts. And obviously, like, I'm not going to sit there for 4 hours. And so my intuition was like, go to minute. It was like 2 hours and 7 minutes. And I was like, that's weird. Like, okay, fair. I'll just follow that intuition and go to it. I went to that bit. It was like a sick sound clip. Like, it was so good. And it got so many views, like more views than I usually get. And so I'm like, wow, that's interesting how when I trusted my intuition like that, without questioning it, like really trusted it, it worked out so well for me. So really, when you quiet the mind, you'll start to get inspiration from your intuition, your higher self. But it's this process of doing little things that your intuition asks you to do, And then you start to build trust over time, because you start to realize, okay, wow, my intuition is actually very powerful and I'm actually plugged into something way bigger than I thought I was. And so the universe is constantly helping us when we are able to quiet the mind. And that was a long old chat, so I'm going to continue on. And guys, if you're enjoying this live, please do like it. Maybe we could get to 100 likes today. I do believe that we could, because we're already nearly there. And also, if you're enjoying, then please do subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future lives or my content. I'm posting on Instagram a lot as well, so my Instagram handle is the same as my YouTube. Amy Louise Samp. Okay. Spirit 0501. Last question. What should I do if you know you got snakes in your group and they demotivate you and they demean you and you want to grow but you need someone? What should I do to get out of everything from rat rap? Okay, I think I know what you're saying. Is that what should you do if you're surrounded by people that are saying things or demotivating you in some way or demeaning your goals? So the first thing that comes to mind for me is be very careful who you share your desires with. I am very careful with who I share what it is that I'm working on with, because I use my intuition to discern who is going to be a good person to tell these things. And our intuition usually knows, it knows when someone, we can be in like conditioning, and we can be in these patterns of telling people our things without actually being conscious of why we're doing it. Like I used to do this where I would just tell my mum everything all the time. I would tell her like everything that I was doing in life. And it was not serving me to do that, because her conditioning would, like you said, it would demotivate me, or it would put me down in some way. It would like bring up my own limiting beliefs. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Be very careful. Also, if it does happen, like I just said, say I said something to someone and they said something that came from their own concept of their own field of belief, and that triggered within me a limiting belief, I can use that situation to become aware of that belief that has just surfaced. So it's obviously where I talk about all the time, in order to manifest in order to consciously manifest, we want to be becoming aware of anything that is limiting, any limiting beliefs that are keeping us from being in alignment with our manifestation. So if you do notice people that are demotivating you or demeaning you, notice what thoughts come up when they say things to you. And what thoughts are you allowing? Question them. Question if you believe them. Question if there is any truth to them. If there is anything that can be proven wrong in any way. And then also questioning why you are spending time with people that are demotivating you and demeaning you. Why do I choose to be around these people? That's what I would do. Not saying that you should cut them off. That might be something that you choose to do. But questioning why I hang around with them is going to give you a lot of information, because it might be that it could be anything. A lot of the times, like I was saying earlier, there's two different types of relationships. There's relationships that feel love, like joy, fun. And then there's the other type of relationship, which is, it feels like desperation, attachment, need, painful. And so when I notice myself being in this kind of relationship, it's like I'm asking myself, why am I attached to this kind of relationship? What is it in me that is wanting to be uncovered through this kind of relationship? Because this is what's happening, right? When we're in these relationships that are painful, it's because we still have a deep-rooted like belief that is still active in our field. So once we become aware of that, we actually start to decrease the attachment that we have to these relationships. It just naturally happens. You won't need to try to force yourself. What will you say about teenage relationship? Is it good or bad when it is affecting your study? Okay, thanks for your question. I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's good or bad. Obviously, if something's affecting your study, like if that's something that's really important to you, then I would look a little bit closer at that. I don't know how to answer this question, but I need to let me just think, or let me just be quiet and see. Mm. So, okay, the things that are coming through for me right now are, and I think I just lost the question, but I'm going to try and just say it anyway. If you want to be focused on studying and that's what you actually want to do, and you're noticing that your relationships are negatively impacting your ability to focus, I would be questioning those relationships. Because like I just said, the relationships that are healthy are ones that they feel like love, they are encouraging, they are fun, they help us to stay more at peace. Whereas if we're in a relationship that is really distracting us from something that we want to focus on, then it's likely to be more of a karmic relationship, a relationship that is more painful, or there's some attachment in some way, an unhealthy attachment. So I'd be questioning why am I, what are the thoughts that I'm allowing that are distracting me from my study? Because it's probably all to do with these relationships are triggering something inside of you that is making it hard for you to focus. So you've maybe gone into a bit of a spiral when this is happening. You're so focused in on this spiral that it's making it very hard for you to just focus on the studying. And there's also going to be a lot of emotion that is connected to this. So you really want to start to feel into the emotion that you're feeling when you're finding yourself distracted from studying. It always comes back to just stopping that loop by coming back into the present moment, anchoring it into the body. Amy, I'm so interested in what you have to say about ego. Do you have any specific questions about the ego? Do you believe in Christ? Yes, I believe in Christ. My question is, does our ego cause negativity to the law of attraction? Yes, because the ego is existing in this concept of separation. And so when we are unaware of our connectedness with each other, what the ego tends to do is it is trying to stay alive, because the ego exists in this sense of separation, right? So it has to stay alive by keeping itself separate from the other. And so what can happen is the ego will create all of these, or it will try to reinforce all of these beliefs and patterns that keep us separate from the whole. And what these beliefs are usually very negative. Like, for example, it could be either way, but it could be the belief that I am better than others, or I am worse than others. But either way, both come from this fear-based vibration. And when we're manifesting from that place, I lost my train of thought. Just bear with me. Okay, so the ego is creating a lot of thoughts, or there are lots of beliefs and patterns that are contained within the ego. And this, like I said earlier, Aaron Abke was saying how we have a collective ego. So we have this collective subconscious that we're all plugged into. And so, and this is all based, not all, but like largely based on very fearful narratives that are rooted in this belief of separation or lack. And so when we are not aware of these beliefs, and the ego is able to continue to stay in this like driver's seat position, then we are going to be manifesting according to those beliefs of the ego, which are very much, okay, so like I said with the ego, but like it has, the way that the ego has to keep itself alive is by making you believe in separation. And so that's why we get so attached to things, because we don't understand that the real truth is that we're all connected, and that we can never actually be disconnected. So we try to cling on to things, or we try to like I was saying earlier about in the example of where if you really want something, then the more you want it, the more desperate you feel for it. It's because your ego is so attached to getting that thing that you end up pushing it further and further away. And then there's the other belief of the ego, which is lack. And that also comes from this belief in separation, because we believe that we're just, okay, I don't know how to explain that, but this belief in lack that the ego carries, or that is connected to, is, again, they're all rooted in fear. And when we are manifesting from that place, it's like these beliefs that I haven't got enough, or I am not enough, or I need to like grasp and cling and force things. This is where we end up manifesting this reality where we feel like there's so much evidence for lack, or we just keep seeing lack everywhere we look around, because the ego is trying to stay alive by bringing up these fears so that you stay in this state of consciousness. Because the ego doesn't want to be demolished, because the way that we evolved was by having this sense of self that actually kept us alive, you know, years and years ago. This is how the human mind has evolved, is that the ego was very much serving us. And it has gotten to the point now where we have this ego that has evolved, but it's not being used, it's using us. And it so badly wants to stay alive because it's this survival instinct of the ego. It's one of the reasons why the ego had evolved. It's out of survival. And so it has this quality to it that is, I need to survive. And so when we are so identified with our human mind and our ego, when we forget our divinity, then we start to manifest from this place that is trying to keep us alive through separation and fear. And so we end up manifesting the reflection of that. Does that make sense? Sometimes I don't even know what I said. Okay, I'm coming back down to the bottom of the comment. Thank you, Hannah, for your questions. I'm guessing you're leaving because you said bye, but thank you guys for coming again. Someone said ego equals human. I mean, I don't see the other animals having an ego like ours. It's definitely the human mind. Guys, if you're here and you're enjoying this live, can you click the like button, please, so that I can get to 100 likes, as it really does help the lives. And also, if you haven't subscribed and you want to help a girl out to reach the goals, I am trying to reach 2K subscribers. So please do subscribe if you like these topics and you like tuning in. Bye. Bye, Hannah. Thank you, Hannah. You're welcome, hon. Have a lovely evening. Thank you, Spirit 0501. Okay, guys, I'm going to read a page out of this book because there's always so many gems in this book. What's the difference between ego and self-respect? Ooh. That's an interesting question. I don't really know how to answer that, but I'm trying to think. I feel like self-respect and self-love is all to do with listening to all the parts of yourself, and that means that you do have to listen to the things that your ego is saying. We have to listen to all the contents of our internal world in order to find solutions that are in alignment for us. Like, we have to discern what is illusion and what is true by really looking inwards and understanding what is the contents of our thoughts. Where are these thoughts coming from? Okay, Polemic said, how do you get rich? I'm just gonna send you into the direction of the book called oh dear, my mind. It's Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. It's a really good book. Okay, guys, right, I'm going to read a little page from this book. What I do with this book is I always just like ask the universe, please can you give me the perfect page for right now? So I'm going to say, let's set the intention that we want to read a page from this book that is going to be the best page for this whole group that is here with us right now. And so this is a prayer book, and it has some little bits of spiritual knowledge and wisdom in it too. It's really good. So yes, thank you to the universe for giving us the page that is most needed right now for this live. So the page I've opened on is daily prayers. So I'm going to read this little bit for you, okay? Each morning or any time you are about to go anywhere or do anything, go over the scenario in your mind. Pray consciously that the circumstance in question be used for the for the purpose of love, that God's ray of light might shine upon it. Part of our mind is bent on love, and part of it is bent on fear. That is how consciousness operates. The loving mind is called the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, or the Shekhinah, which I never heard that word, and many other names. It is the holy self that lies potential within all of us, the mystical drive to return home. We always have the choice to align ourselves with its presence and act accordingly in the world, or give in to fear. Let me read that again, okay? We always have the choice to align ourselves with love's presence, God's presence, and act accordingly in the world, or give in to fear, and on some level die. The problem is that the voice of the Spirit is not the dominant voice of the world. Fear is louder than love. It takes conscious effort, therefore, to go against the voices of the world and to actualize our spiritual nature. And this is what I was saying about the collective ego. Like, the collective ego is so big, and we're currently like, humanity is being driven by the collective ego. So it takes a lot of conscious energy to tap into and live from a state of love, consciously make our actions from a state of love. But each time a person does that, we are strengthening humanity's ability to act from love. At the moment, we're all plugged into the collective ego, and that's what's like largely controlling us. But if we can all start to shift a little bit each day to start making decisions from a place of love and be in alignment with God, then we start to shift our whole species into that as well. Okay, The fearful mind or the negative ego is alive and well within us and around us, but darkness disappears in the presence of light. Fear has no ultimate power in a situation dedicated through prayer to God. The purpose of daily prayer is the cultivation of a sense of the sacred. Sacred energy renews us, lives with no more sense of spiritual meaning than that provided by shopping malls, ordinary television, and stagnant workplaces are barren lives indeed. Spirituality enriches culture. Prayer enables us to transform the world because it transforms us. From the moment we awaken each morning, our minds are at work in one direction or in the other. Either we are slaves to the fearful mental habit patterns that dominate our world, or we are consciously taking part in the counterforce to the world's despair. We embark upon the creation of a peaceful lifestyle by recognizing the need daily to cleanse our minds just as we cleanse our bodies. Through morning prayers and meditation, we embark upon the day spiritually prepared. Without this preparation, we enter the day with yesterday's anxieties, our own and those of millions of others. Through the grace of God, we can be cleansed each day of yesterday's sorrow and yesterday's pain. The more we allow our internal world to be illumined, the more our external world will take on meaning. Through meditation and prayer, our nervous systems become prepared for the task of a more powerful external existence. People who love will usher in the new illumined world. As we turn Godward, the energies of true life stream into our minds and through our hearts. To go within is not to turn our backs on the world, it is to prepare ourselves to serve it more effectively. What we need, a comfortable private place, silence, or as close to it as we can get, and a commitment to making spiritual practice a part of our lives. We must spend as much time as we feel we can give each morning to the communion with God that will expand our consciousness, renew our spirit, and guide our thoughts throughout the day. Silent contemplation or meditation is as important a factor in spiritual transformation as is prayer. Along with reading spiritual literature, prayer and meditation form the backbone of our daily practice. Almost any meditation technique we choose takes 20 minutes at least. Prayer doesn't take long, but the effect it has is miraculous. Read my prayers or someone else's. By all means, create your own. It can be very powerful to write down prayers. Some people find value in keeping a prayer journal. These principles in general are good to remember. Invite God's Spirit into every situation, which means to ask for the highest level of thought, guidance, and unfoldment to occur for all concerned. Ask God to remove from your mind all thoughts that are not of Him or love. Ask God to show you the love and innocence with all people. Ask that only God's purpose be served in every situation. Be honest, be humble, be serious. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do this prayer for you guys. I'm going to do a new day prayer. Dear God, thank you for this new day, its beauty and its light. Thank you for my chance to begin again. Free me from the limitations of yesterday. Today, may I be reborn. May I become more fully a reflection of your radiance. Give me strength and compassion and courage and wisdom. Show me the light in myself and others. May I recognize the good that is available everywhere. May I be this day an instrument of love and healing. Lead me into gentle pastures. Give me deep peace that I might serve you most deeply. Amen. I'm tired. And I think that was a perfect way to round off today's live. So thank you guys for being here with me. And if you haven't already liked the live, please do before I go. And if you haven't subscribed and you would like to subscribe, then I invite you to do that because I am going to be going live quite a lot. And if anyone's interested in doing one-to-one sessions, I do have a couple of sessions, three that are still available for next week. And so, yeah, if you want to go into anything that we've been speaking about deeper, like subconscious reprogramming, really get into the root of limiting beliefs. This is something that I do one-to-one with meditation practices and shadow work, and really with one-to-one you can go into things a lot deeper and really help start to see shifts by just having someone to guide you through it and help you to see things that you might not have seen on your own. So if it sounds like something that you're interested in, then please do send me an email. My email is in the description, and I have also put my email in my bio. And yeah, I hope everyone has a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next live. Peace, namaste, have a beautiful day. Bye guys.